So, what did you say your name was?
Hi, my name is Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat for a lot of years. I did this to hide the fact I have a small penis.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible.
No one, Mr. Sensible.
When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first, full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere on page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hard Siberian Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realize you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit
Can we
short of
pretend
a
that
full bowl.
airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I rit up on your mom's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you taught a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them, and I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with a vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Heisenberg did to Mike. Yeah, on the 5th season of Breaking Bad. That's some good telly. I hope you enjoyed that rap there. I do apologise. Listening to me rap is probably not great for your mental health, but if you would like to see the song in its entirety on its own, then please go to JC Clark's channel and look at his recent video. Hopefully there's going to be a full music video put together for that at some point. Yeah. So it's Monday. We're going to go and talk to the Discord of Derp, the Den of Dumb, the wonderful Discord server full of flat earthers. I actually have fun over there. Before we get started, a couple of things. Tomorrow on MC Toon's channel, there will be the top left nomination streams. Once every year, we give thanks to the top leftness of flat earthers. Last year, there was like 9,612 nominations. This year, there's only going to be 10 nominations. They're going to be chosen on the stream tomorrow. And hopefully you will join us for that. And then we will have the full top left award ceremony on April the 1st, because why not? Secondly, I would like to say thank you to the doctor. I'm not going to name names, I don't want to dox you, but a doctor who watches this stream contacted me via email and told me to get this checked. Said it doesn't look normal, and you were absolutely 100% correct. My doctor looked at it and said, yeah, that's an abnormal growth. We're going to deal with that. So I've got some steroid cream at the moment, and then we're going to revisit in 6 weeks, see if it needs a biopsy. So, you know, potentially, you could have stopped me having a cancer episode. So, thank you for, doing that. That's insane that you would look at that and go, yeah, that's not right. So, amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I very much enjoy doing these streams over there. Witzer is there right now, which is always fun. Gleam's in there. But there's an astronomer I've been talking to on email who wants to ask them a few questions. And he is in the Discord as well. So we're going to go over there and have a chat with all of them.
Hi, my name is Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat for a lot of years. I did this to hide the fact I have a small penis.
Didn't need to know that, Nathan. Thank you very much. Oh, Sheldor with 20 Canadian dollars ready. Thank you. That was fantastic. Well done. No, thank you, JC Clark, for writing and producing that song. I just gave my dulcet tones to it. I did Mr. Sensible and the third rapper. Wolf for $2 says, Batman is a Mary Sue. Fight me. I mean, I'm obviously not Batman, so I wouldn't know. I'm Batman. No, I'm not, honestly. I'm Bruce Wayne. No, I'm not Bruce Wayne. God, I'm really bad at this, aren't I? Anyway, let's do it. Let's go over there. I also want to say hello to a few people in the chat. PhD Tony, the only real person in the room. Thank you for joining. Taos Software, King Crew, Stringer News 1, Sean Carroll, Genji, Uyghurism, Joe Black. Thank you, everybody, for being there. Requiem for a Dream, Dave Lister, my favorite character from Red Dwarf. Repose Man, Jason T. God, there's so many of you. Share the stream. Let's get more. All right, why don't we do it? Why don't we go over there and see what is going on? Hello, Arteria Discord. How the devil are we?
Oh, hey, Craig. Welcome in.
Thank you very much.
Where's your friend?
There should be a guy here called Olaf. I did see him in there just now.
I got him.
Yes. Olaf is an astronomer I've been talking to via email, and he asked if he could come on to just ask the panel some questions about what it is that he does. Would it be okay with you guys if we started today's festivities with Olaf having a word with you?
Sure, should be fun.
Wait, did you just say he's open to allow us to ask him questions? Yeah, he's never been here and is not familiar at all with anything that we do here.
Well, that's a good question.
He specifically wants to ask you about his job, what it is you think he does. Why don't we let him on introduce himself, and we can take it from there.
This is already go ahead.
Olaf, hello, bud.
Right. Good night, essentially. Hi, I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, you're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, so essentially I'm just doing my master's thesis. I've started actually yesterday with my master's thesis, and in general, I mean, Craig already said it, I'm really just curious. I'm not trying to get into anyone's shit here, but I'm really just more curious. What is it you think I, or by extension me and all of my, Jesus, like 60 colleagues, do all day?
Make up theoretical, conceptual frameworks to try to understand the sky better over time.
How come like 50 of us are mostly working with observation? What are we looking at? Are we imagining things?
No, you make the observations, you just imagine the rest.
Well, Olaf,
So-
how familiar with the flat Earth idea and philosophy are you, or is it only filtered through Craig here?
Well, no, to be frank, I'm somewhat new to, well, not really new. I'm just not
Perfect.
particularly interested. I've known for a few of the ideas for quite some time now. I've just, I have things to do, if you will, so I don't spend a lot of time looking for them and stuff. But I mean, you can certainly talk to me about stuff if that's what you want, or if you want to hear my angle on things. But like,
Perfect.
When you come back to the observations part, so the things we observe are real. So all the lights in the sky are really the things we say they are. Or what do you mean?
Well, from my understanding, right, like you guys, astronomy, we just look at the sky, we try to figure out what's going on, we build off of things we previously thought were the case, we're constantly changing them, and we have lots of big gaps that don't make sense that we cannot currently explain.
I mean, there certainly are gaps, absolutely, no doubt about it, but when
Like
you
big
say
gaps, right? I mean,
depends on what you would call big, but I mean, there are certainly important things that we don't know, yes.
yeah, I mean, if 83% of the total matter is something we don't know what is, or if the expansion rate's way too fast, or early formation of galaxies we don't understand, or the flatness problem and the fine-tuning problem, I mean, if you, even percentage-wise, it's actually a majority of things we don't understand, yeah?
Depends on what you call a majority, but like, the thing is that, as you probably know, we have somewhat limited observation techniques. When you think about it, the only thing that we're really doing is looking at light, and dark matter, by definition, not giving off any light, is really quite a big hindrance to looking at anything. But there are some things that we have figured out rather well. I mean, the points you raised are completely valid. We have problems with dark matter and dark energy, as you said. We have more or less problems with figuring out the whole expansion of the universe thing, and to a certain degree why it's expanding. But there are things that we know rather well. I would say, for example, the evolution of stars is something that we have figured out sufficiently well, not only from a pure observational standpoint, but also like from a nuclear physics standpoint. But yeah, so like when I go to work on, I have my week off this week, so when I go to work next week, what am I doing? I would be really interested in you telling me your idea of what my work consists of. Like,
why don't you start by telling us what you do, actually, right? What does your daily work consist of? What are you actually doing at work?
Good question.
Well, mostly I sit in lectures because I'm still in my master's, but for example, something I've started right now is reading up on papers and getting my hands on some data by ALMA, which is the Atacama Large Millimeter Array, which is a radio telescope array with which data, with the data of which I'll be doing my master's thesis. So right now I'm reading up on the data structure of ALMA and looking at the basics of ALMA data. And for example, this is me working directly with radio observations that, show stars or mostly protoplanetary disks and stuff. So essentially, sorry.
Well, it seems like the bigger elephant in the room here is that when you look at stars and the process of the stars and radio transmissions and distances and durations and everything, it's all built within this assumed framework, and it has glaring issues, like as to viability in and of itself. that assumption never gets checked, though. So,
Which specific assumptions do you mean?
A heliocentric solar system inside of an expanding universe.
I mean the expansion of the universe, because for this specific thing, the expansion of the universe, it really isn't all too much important because it's comparatively close by, right? The expansion of the universe is really more of a cosmological importance for short-ish scales. Like within a galaxy, the expansion of the universe is not really important for observations. The Hubble constant, I don't actually know it by heart, but it's something. It's something like kilometers per second per megaparsec, and the megaparsec is huge. It's like quite a bit more than a large galaxy. So really, inside the galaxy, the expansion of the universe isn't all too much important. But like if you go back on that, yeah, I mean, of course, observations are based in a heliocentric view because, well, our telescopes point to where they point, and when we look at the stuff that we want to look at, it works. So it's not like we kind of.
Okay, but I can come up with any theory that mathematically works, and actually, that's kind of what I'm saying. Though it doesn't work. So we take relativity in the heliocentric model. We look at the sky. It doesn't even explain Mercury. It doesn't even explain the anomaly of Mercury, and then we go beyond the solar.
Sorry. Keep on.
I'm just saying, when we go beyond the solar system, then we have discovered in 33, the galaxy clusters only had 3%, or really like 1% of the mass predicted by relativity. That's never been accounted for, which means our fundamental framework of the what composes outer space is completely inaccurate.
I mean, first of all, relativity really does account for the thing of Mercury. That's kind of the whole thing. It was one of the most substantial tests that general relativity had to go through before it really gained popularity, so to speak. So the orbit of Mercury is really one of the more better examples of general relativity working. As to the mass of galaxy clusters, this is a rather complex topic, I think. However, and full-on disclaimer, I'm totally not a cosmologist, right? Because there are sorry, my English is dropping out occasionally. But there's specialization within astronomy, and one of them is cosmology, and that's very much not why I'm a part of. So, oh God.
Okay. Well, I think oftentimes gets overlooked is. Oh, sorry. Well, I think what gets overlooked, in my opinion, is that cosmology kind of is involved with what you're doing, and you're assuming it without acknowledging it, because there's a cosmological principle that you've adopted, and you have the Copernican principle, which is the idea that the Earth does not occupy a special or unique position. We move from that assumed philosophical framework, which would be cosmological or ontological, right? And then we assume that, and then we go from there. And actually, with Mercury's perihelion shift, relativity was able to mathematically explain, like to map it out better. But of course, it was discovered long after Newtonian dynamics, so it was an observation 60 or so years before relativity. Of course, it had to try to account for it, but they actually couldn't get the field equations to work for it, and they had to use imaginary numbers in the roots of equation 7 and 8 and assume a massless path. And there are, to this day, many people trying to explain the Mercury anomaly, but they all kind of fall short. So sure, it does better than Newtonian because it was an observation it had to account for. It doesn't actually explain Mercury properly. There's no way to make the field equations properly do that unless you assume things that aren't true.
That's a question.
Sorry,
let him respond. Come on, bro.
To my knowledge, the Mercury orbit is, for practical purposes, perfectly explained with general relativity. I'm not aware of any shortcomings on that part, really.
100%, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah.
Well, let's assume a massless path to use the Schwarzschild equation. So that's how it was originally done. And you have like the Kerr metric, which has been proposed, and different variations that treat the sun as a black hole and say that the charge and axial rotation of the sun is what causes the difference, but it would require more charge and a faster spin. And there are many different things that try to explain it. Obviously, Mercury does have a mass. So you can make the math work, sure, with the Schwarzschild equation, but it uses a massless path. So it doesn't match relativistic prediction. So it actually doesn't even work on the solar system. Once you get outside of there, it just really falls apart.
I mean, it's just not true. Einstein's theory of general relativity predicts exactly the amount of perihelion advance seen in Mercury. It's exactly what we expect to see, and the maths works out perfectly. Honestly, don't know where you're getting that from. Which I'd have to see your sources.
The Schwarzschild equation.
I'd have to see. You're saying things. I'd have to see your sources around your entire claim, because it's just not what is said about relativity and Mercury. Honestly, it's confusing why you would say that.
That makes my point stronger, that there's a misunderstanding that's oftentimes said about Mercury that's actually strong evidence that verified relativity. In fact, it's not the case.
Right? I mean,
no. Well, does the Schwarzschild equation have to assume a massless path?
Again, I would have to see your sources and check it before I respond.
Did you say that if it has to assume a massless path, then it isn't accurately describing what's actually happening?
Again, I would have to see your sources and analyze your data before I respond.
Well, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if you had an equation that had to use a massless path, do you agree that wouldn't be accurate?
I don't know how you're putting that into the equation, so I don't know what you're talking about. I would have to see your data behind your entire claim before I analyze any part of it and make a response.
Whatever. I'm just letting you guys know it's oftentimes misstated that relativity was actually further validated due to the perihelion shift prediction. It wasn't a prediction. It was discovered decades before relativity was proposed, and you had to use a Schwarzschild equation with the massless path. In the 60s, they proposed the Kerr metric, which tries to better explain it with actually accounting for the mass of Mercury, and it's still an ongoing dispute, the Mercury anomaly, and how to apply the field equations. Either way, even beyond that, we have way bigger problems. You could argue maybe that's not that big of a problem, but when you get outside the solar system, like, 33, we discovered 1% of the predicted mass. 96% of the universe is unaccounted for, undefined, and unexplained.
Can I ask a question to Olaf?
Yeah.
Real quick. Olaf, I have a question, general. The understanding of what you see in reality, has that mostly been influenced by the teachings of other men, or is most of the majority of things that you have come to understand about the lights that you observe in the sky, as we all do, has that knowledge and information been taught by the very university that you go to and listen to? Like, has there been like own research before that educational path that you took?
I mean, first of all, there's the saying, we stand on the shoulders of giants. So, I mean, we're getting taught astronomy for a reason at university. So why wouldn't I listen to what they say? With that said, before I went to university, I frankly, until 1 year before, I had rather little interest in the things that they said. So no, there's no real kind of when you say independent, I assume you mean that I checked some of the statements that were given to us at university myself, which, depending on what you mean by that, I don't go out with my telescope and check all the things they say because I have things to do. That will be quite a sufficient workload. And the few things that during the astronomy, because you have practical lessons, kind of practical courses where you do stuff yourself, those have aligned rather nicely with the things that they've told us. So
Can we just address the bigger point, maybe, if that's cool, Clay? Can we just get an acknowledgement that the relativistic prediction applied to the universe was off by 99% for galaxy clusters, and overall doesn't account for 96% of what's considered to comprise the modern universe?
Not trying to interrupt, but is there any chance you could maybe reduce the volume on your mic or move back a little? It's not just my chat, but people in the Discord here are saying that you're really loud and muffly.
Hey, also you, Sarah, and I'm not trying to mess with you. You're the same. You could do that also.
Okay,
your microphone. Yeah, I wasn't seriously the same. You both mics are the same like that.
No, I can move mine away easily.
Yes. Also, Witsits too, though. I'm not trying to be fair. I just find it ironic.